Alright. I got a few things on the desk that I want to unbox. I left them here before I had this done. And I felt up to doing it tonight before I went to bed. I just opened this little beaut. And it was actually a lot nicer than I expected. I'm doing away with all the regular M2 Cokes and going after the Coke chases. But anything Blazer or Bronco, C10, even Ford truck I'm going to keep and just put with the rest of the loose ones. I found this one down in South Texas, and it was different than all the rest of the ones I had seen. I couldn't tell you if I saw a Bronco, and it looked pretty good as far as quality for M2 in the package, and this thing rolls probably better than any M2 I got. And it's actually got smooth tires on it, so did that one in a short video earlier. I'm going to do, I have this car in black that came out of the box. I found it a few months ago. I think this is a new pink slips for this year. We'll open it up and check it out. The peg warmer. I had a big loose collection of premiums. I had this thing up for grabs, so I'm just going to keep it, hang on to it, throw the loose collection. This one's got a little booster brake on it. Do the same thing, it'll go straight to loose collection. And then last, we'll show you another M2 Bronco. So, we'll do the, I don't keep these cards. What really turned me on about this car, it's I'm assuming this is a 2025. It's either 2024 or 2025. Car 71 out of 125 Matchbox for the year. What I loved about this car was I never seen it when I got it in the box. And when I opened up the one I had in the box, the level of quality and detail on this casting is, this one's not quite as brilliant and shiny and pretty as that black one, but the casting has really good features and remarks to it. You know, it rolled just, I mean, next to perfect, and it was a lot better quality than I expected out of just a normal Matchbox, and this one really did disappoint. So, get a little side view of it. I'm going to try with the camera focus. And do the other side. And I want you all to see the front. Give it a little tilt, let it refocus. Then the rear. And then kind of an overall in the cockpit. So, now I got a black one and a red one. I'm not sure, I don't really know anything about this Radical brand. I'm assuming this is a licensed casting. And it's all over the card. I'm sure it's some kind of hypercar mini prototype. I thought it was just a badass golf cart or a go-kart. But I'm sure everybody will tell me in the comments or have some feedback. Don't know much about it. I'd never seen it when I bought the one that was black in the box. But I was glad to have that one. Let's cut this one open. This is the peg one we're all familiar with. This car is out of Fast X. Haven't seen it. This was 2024. This may be a 2025 run. It's kind of hard to tell off the copyrights on the back of the packages and really do things, but it's part of this set. Like I said, if you haven't seen this on your local Walmart or Target shelf, your store manager at your local yokel's not doing his part, because they're everywhere. But use an X-Acto knife to cut all these open. I keep all the Hot Wheels premium cards. I put them in Ziplocs once the sets are complete or trying to be completed. And eventually I figured at some point I might do something with the card art. You know, make some kind of backdrop display or something. And it's also a good way to keep inventory besides pictures and albums like I have. And I'm not doing a spreadsheet on these things. I'll just, if I go through the cards every now and again, it will kind of remind myself that I have them. But so I just cut them all off nice and clean, nice and smooth. Everything stacked nice and flat. You know, they go over here and they get filed away in that loose loose container I have with all my Ziplocs in there, full of team transports and Hollis premiums. But as expected, the this is the same exact casting as the Spetacolore Alfa Romeo that I have, and the Guia, but the other one is white with some kind of Italian livery on the side. Really nice car, but the paint on this car is actually a lot better than I expected. And obviously, you know, everything's double die cast with Hollis premium. I was glad to see that they did do a gloss black beige chassis, undercarriage, what have you. And it does have a few little detail markings of chassis on there. A little side profile. That's the rear. That's the front. And then we'll get a top. And just like every Hollis premium, like glass. You can't be real riders, man. You. I mean, Matchbox collectors are a close second, but what makes these things really just be what they are is the way of the casting. Kind of helps prevent that axle rattle and chirp and what have you. And I think, you know, Mattel/Hot Wheels takes a little bit more time to refine the quality of rubber they use on these things, the way they get these things molded, the way they prep them, the way they get them to where they have like almost kind of like a sealed finish, just so it kind of helps protect them. I mean, you can't beat these things on any of the premiums, and that's another reason why every single Hot Wheels premium, except maybe 20 in that container over there, they're all out. There's about 200 down there in Jammer's cases, and I don't regret it at all. And there's probably another 40 or 50 up here inside my displays and my team transports. There is not a single team transport I have in a package. The cars are just too nice to not admire outside the package, and they roll just too good. I made that decision first of the year this year, and I don't have any regrets. But there's the Alfa Romeo Ghia. Very nice. I'm glad they have that in my loose collection. I have the other variant of this car. The car looks a little bit different, and I'm not sure if this is in more than one movie or not, but I decided to open this one. And if I can't get rid of the other one in a trade or a sale, I'll open it too, or I'll give it away to somebody. This one's out of the Fate of the Furious, if my memory serves me right. I haven't seen it yet, but I think that's number 8. Not a huge UK car guy. Like, I have appreciation for them, but any Bentley Continental has always been a drool car, because that's a very underappreciated ride in a lot of aspects, and it's no slouch on the track. But this one kind of had a cool color scheme, and again, I had it up for trade, and I was going through all my posts on Facebook, you know, making edits, and I noticed when I pulled this thing out that it had a little blister peel on it, and I didn't note that on the little markup I had on the picture, so I just decided to keep it. And again, just like every other premium, the car doesn't really do its own justice until you pull it out of the blister, because the paint and the wheels did not seem to have this kind of shine. But again, this is from this set here. I have all 4 other cars. I am keeping the NSX, or the Nissan 180. Everybody wanted this truck. It took me probably 3 months to get it. You know, Brian O'Connor's shop truck from the first movie. I think everybody has that. That was a major peg warmer, and this car was around, but it wasn't like everywhere. And it's kind of the same thing with this one. But we'll get a little side view. Really nice choice of wheels on this model. There's the passenger side. That's the rear. That's the front. And then gloss black undercarriage with a little bit of detailing that Nothing crazy, mainly for the rear valence. Sculpted bumper cover, what have you. It's kind of cool. But pretty neat. Get a little top view too. And again, just like that one right there. This one's fairly heavy. I mean, it's kind of a big car, and that wing probably adds a little bit of casted weight. But in relation to that Alfa Romeo, it's, I don't know, I got a scale right here, let's see what it weighs. Why not? That's what videos are for, right? And this is a shipping scale, non-narcotic scale. Full disclosure, PSA. The Alfa Romeo weighs 1.8 ounces, and the Bentley weighs 2.1. So, in percentage, that's probably another, what is that, like 15, 20%, or about 12 to 14%. So, again, kind of useless information to a lot of people, but it's sitting right there. Why not? Alright, pink slips. Every pink slips I have, majorette, Jada, slug bug, anything majorette / Jada comes out of the package. Those cards that you and I something to enjoy. The packaging is shitty anyway. And it's hard to keep the corners straight on them, and they put all those goofy ass stickers because some are imported, some are not. And the pink slips, the past few years, certain lines of the pink slips come with the collector's tins, and they look good sitting up on a shelf, whether like this or like that with the art facing out. I have probably another 20 the older pink slips, the different variant pink slips that are in the standard, matchbox size car size card boxes, and I have all of last year's six car lineup in the tins. They're up on the shelf, and I saw 4 out of the 8 or 10 or whatever that's in this series, but I knew that the Porsche would be probably the most difficult to find, and it was on the shelf. And I'm trying to be a little more selective about what I buy. So I just decided to pick this one up. And what I love about the majorettes is they have moving parts, Jada's too. This one has opening doors. The frunk on the Porsche, it opens up as well. Can't really see anything in there, but you got a good little shot of the interior. Hood shell on the front. The rear. And all these Jadas and majorettes have sprung suspension. The majorettes are a little more prominent, a little more travel, if you will. The pink slips and the Jadas. The Jada slug bug stuff have quite a bit of travel. What I actually like about the bugs is, the buses especially, is they have so much travel in the chassis suspension, the little sprung steel that's in there. You can basically have the truck or vehicle like where it rolls like stock height, and you push it down, it looks slammed. So you could kind of implicate, if you could figure out a way to keep it, it makes the car look lower, or on airbags or what have you. But these things don't disappoint. I mean, I think they're a great value for, I think the pink slips cars, when you find them on the shelf at Walmart, Target or wherever, they're $5-6. But if you're smart, you can catch them on discount at Aldi's. You can buy a lot of them for $3.99, sometimes they're $2.99. But I love the new majorette cars because you're not going to find a car this detailed and looks this good, that has rubber tires and rolls this good with moving parts for $5. I mean, the Matchbox Matchbox moving parts, they're $3 to $4, and they're nice and they're detailed, and they're even some of them are really nice and detailed. But you don't get rubber tires, and some of us like to fiddle with cars and play with them and roll them. That kind of matters. Obviously this thing's super quiet. You roll it next to a premium. Doesn't roll quite as good as a premium, but you hear all that axle chatter, with the Heartless Premium. But the Jada majorettes, they use kind of a bigger housing for where their back of their wheel hub, if you will, goes onto the axle. It may be a slightly different material. I don't know. I don't really care. I like them all. I'm not too picky. I'm just trying to point out stuff like this for y'all as y'all are buying and decide to open or close or keep in packaging or whatever. Last one. This is I know I found this on the road heading down to South. I think this is a Hobby Lobby because I think it had the sticker that I removed there, and with it being a 2021 year model, for release, it was probably Hobby Lobby. But this is A250 pieces, 66 Bronco, which I believe is the first year of these. This model's HS21. I'm assuming that's a hobby exclusive. I think the HS is signified for Hobby Lobby or a Hobby Lobby or a hobby store exclusive. And it's 21-63, so it's 2021 year model release 63. Again, I didn't show this. I showed it in another little short video I did for that Sprite Bronco, but I cut these open. I keep all the M2s are the ones that I still am keeping now. I keep all the bases and all the screws to the Lexan box in the event that I ever want to store it or put it on a shelf in a case or what have you. Or, if I trade it to a friend of mine who cares about it or wants it. I have a little bit of room to store these cases. The haulers, I'm probably not going to keep the cases for those. But any Blazer, Bronco, or truck, I'll probably keep these. And I'll put all the hardware in a little bag like I did with this one. Just to keep everything together. That way it can be displayed by someone else later on. So, this is trash, that's trash. And you get my little screwdriver. I was showing on this other one, they put a shallow base on it and they have this riser. Looks like this one has it too. They do this on the stuff with four-wheel drive tires and wheels. You can kind of see it in the back there. It's good to see that because it does allow the model to get slightly off the base or just barely resting on it. And it did work on that one because that M2 there rolls better than, I wouldn't say any M2 I got, but it rolls a lot better than just about all of them. This one's a little bit older, so it may not be as smooth as far as how it rolls, but we'll check them against each other here in a minute. I'll show you all how much better the tire quality is on that. And it also helps that I think on these four-wheel drive models, which I've kind of obviously gravitated to more because it's just more my style, if I'm being honest. And I just like four-wheel drive stuff in general. But these tires are just a little bit bigger to put on by hand, which is what they're done when these things are assembled. So instead of them just getting pressed on and getting shoved on the base and going through the assembly line, you can obviously tell, depending on how good or bad your eyesight is, the tire's seated on there. And I cannot tell you how many times I have bought a green light, an M2, a Johnny Lightning, an Auto World, hell, any of them except Hollis Premium, to where we've all seen it. Looks like the tires, got low air on it, or it's come off the bead, or whatever, or it has a flat spot in the tire. These two Broncos, this one has a little left-hand pull, but it rolls great, and that's contributed to these small little risers that they're putting on to keep these things from sitting on that thing in a hot shelf or out back of a hot truck or being shipped from California to wherever else in the state. But this is a very nice Bronco. Not quite as nice, I think, as the Sprite one I have over there as far as fit and finish. Definitely a better looking livery. A little more correct, even though this one's a full 10-year model older. This was not the last year. I think 70. I can't remember if 76 or 7 was last year, but first gen Bronco, almost last year. Spare tire in the rear is a good match. Bumper fits a lot better on this one than the Sprite one. It had a little sag inside on the driver's side. And this one has a Coyote motor. So if you look in there real close, you can see that Coyote 5-liter intake. It's a dead giveaway. Big old 4-cam motor sitting in there. And we'll compare it to, and I'm assuming that's because it's a full performance livery. That's what should be in there, honestly. But you got the standard factory engine in this one. Probably a 302. It's hard to tell if they're manuals or automatics, but I think this is automatic, so that's probably like a old 3-speed on the tree or something like that. This one's an automatic too. If you look at them side by side, you can notice the totally different engines. But obviously the year model, this being a 66, this being a 76. The grill variations in different years, and this one's got some little accent treatments here and there. But very nice. M2 does a really good job. I bought their stuff long before I collected diecast. I started out with probably 8 or 10 M2s in the cubes, a couple Cadillacs and some other muscle cars that I bought. But if they could mirror this type of fit and finish and quality on all their cars, they would sell much better. Because you buy a lot of the muscle cars, even the Chevy trucks, anything with the smaller tires, they're just not that great for them. I'll be 100% candid. I'm really apprehensive. I've got probably 70 up here, in front of me and over here. I don't know if you can see them in the camera, but there's 3 or 4 of the Broncos I have, first gen bodies. I got 4 or 5 Blazers up here and 2 square body 4-wheel drive trucks. And I've got, a couple more loose ones up there. The 4-wheel drive Broncos and trucks and Blazers, I'm starting to lean more to collecting those. Anything with the 4-wheel drive tire. Because the tire quality is just, it's better by far. And it's hit or miss. It doesn't matter if you buy the older stuff, the newer stuff. I think the newer stuff's a little bit better. I haven't opened a whole lot of 2024 and 2025. But I would say probably half these cars up here, you're going to find some kind of blemish or, flaw or some kind of takeaway that's negative on the M2 stuff, just looking at the box. But I don't care, man. They're, at the end of the day, they're $6 and $9 cars, and if it just bothers you that bad, just you can take it out and get some of the wheel stuff, kind of straightened out. You can put some heat on them and roll it on your desk a few times, and it'll kind of work itself out. But it's not a $30 model. It's going to have its kinks, right? But I always thought they just do a really good job at nailing the casting, and just from a car guy, a truck guy who grew up running 4-wheel drives and was really picky about just being as close to the licensed casting as it could. They don't get no better. I'm sure there's more detailed models out there, but for the $10 and under market, it's kind of hard to beat. Greenlight, obviously, they all have their perks, and they all have their pros and cons. I'm just trying to point out some feedback that I'd like to share, and just, it kind of comes in waves. Sometimes you just get a case of the ass with them, and you just quit buying them. And you start focusing more on Greenlight or Auto World, or more Hot Wheels Premiums, or what have you. But as we do these, I'll kind of share a few little tidbits and some opinions. And as you start to buy and shop and collect and open up and trade and whatever, you're going to find out that, yeah, he was right. Oh, no, I disagree. And that's your opinion. That's fine. That's what doing the research and spending the money and collecting and finding out the hard way. It's just, you take a little feedback or you find out on your own. just trying to give you a little bit of insight, just so you know what you're getting into before you spend $500 or $1,000 on all these models you keep in packages, or more over time. And you start opening up, and you're just like, you're disgusted. Have a little bit of insight on what you're getting into. So that's it for today. Soapbox has been long enough. We will haul at y'all later.